If you're someone who believes that Minkah Fitzpatrick should be replaced by a player who can actually match his level, then it makes a lot of sense to have Justin Simmons come to mind. Simmons is an intriguing figure on the free agent market. A veteran safety with solid credentials who might just be the kind of player a team like the Steelers should be seriously considering right now. It's easy to overlook the fact that he's not exactly in his prime anymore. He's about to enter his 32nd year. And while his numbers last season weren't eye-popping, his career overall speaks volumes. He has an impressive total of 32 interceptions over 9 seasons, a stat that puts him among the more productive safeties of his era. His ability to defend passes remains sharp, as shown by 7 passes defensed in his last campaign, and 62 tackles is nothing to scoff at. What's striking, though, is that for the first time in 6 years, Simmons wasn't selected to the Pro Bowl. And similarly, after 3 years, he didn't make the All-Pro team. That might feel like a red flag for some, but it's not as though he completely dropped off a cliff either. He's been consistently solid, reliable, and still plays with a level of intelligence and instinct that only comes with experience. What really sets his situation apart is the fact that he has never even played in a playoff game. Not once. Unlike many notable veterans who have at least tasted postseason action, Simmons has yet to suit up on that stage. And that's an important distinction. Simmons has been vocal about his desire to join a contender, a team that's not just aiming to make the playoffs, but is truly poised to win a Super Bowl. That ambition resonates because it reflects a hunger to be part of something greater, beyond personal stats or contracts. When he and his agent talk about his current free agency, the reason he hasn't signed yet is exactly that. He's waiting for the right opportunity, a team with a legitimate shot at the title. Among the teams mentioned, the Eagles have come up as a clear possibility, but the Steelers haven't really been part of that conversation. At least not publicly. Still, with the holes left by Fitzpatrick's departure and the need to fill the free safety spot, it feels like the Steelers ought to be very interested. Juan Thornhill, who has been brought in recently, hasn't quite inspired confidence that he can be the long-term solution. His time in Cleveland was marred by injuries and inconsistency, and his one-year deal with Pittsburgh was clearly intended to add depth rather than fill a starring role. If the Steelers truly saw Thornhill as their answer at free safety, they probably wouldn't have signed him on such a modest deal. This suggests that the team itself might be hedging its bets. Another angle to consider is whether any of the 32 NFL teams, or at least the 31 excluding Philadelphia, could have made Simmons a more compelling case than the Steelers. They did. It's not like the Steelers, led by Omar Khan and his evaluators, have overlooked him out of ignorance. Yet, as of now, Simmons remains unsigned, which makes you wonder if there are questions about his fit or value. I can't say for sure what conversations are happening behind the scenes, but it's hard to believe that the Steelers will simply stand pat on both the wide receiver number 2 and free safety positions. Since Aaron Rodgers signed on, the team's outlook changed dramatically in terms of ambition. The arrival of a future Hall of Famer alters expectations and creates pressure to compete immediately. When you look at the Steelers' current contract situation, you notice a lot of one-year deals and older players sprinkled throughout the roster. It's an unusual structure for a team that claims it wants to win now. How does management justify going into a season with so many short-term contracts, especially when the salary cap space is actually set to increase once key players like TJ Watt finalize their deals? Why would the front office hold back resources for future free agency periods when the goal is clearly to build a contender right now? The quarterback situation also plays a big role in this. There's a strong sense that the Steelers want to have a legitimate franchise quarterback in place for next season, whether it's someone drafted by the team like Will Howard or a new acquisition. But that vision doesn't mesh well with a laissez-faire approach to key positions like free safety and WR2. You can't wait around hoping to fill those spots with just somebody. The team needs dependable, impactful players who can contribute immediately. Of course, I'm not suggesting the Steelers should blindly throw money at Simmons or any free safety. That would be unwise. But neither does Thornhill inspire enough confidence to be the answer. The reality is that if there's ever a year to gamble on a veteran safety with Simmons' experience and skill set, this year might be it. He brings a track record of consistency and professionalism that can't be ignored. Whether that translates 2, a Steelers jersey or another team remains to be seen. Shifting gears a bit, let's talk about their offensive line, which has been another hot topic. There's a question mark around some of the younger guys like Brick Broad and how they compare to others like Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick. The skepticism around Broad isn't unfounded. He struggled through much of his second season, and while he did show some improvement, it wasn't at the level many hoped. Broad's journey has been tougher than expected, and it's easy to see why fans might be holding their breath as the new season approaches, especially since this will be the first time we see the offensive line play together as a unit on the field. Comparing that to Frazier, who was once ranked among the top 10 centers in the league, highlights the difference in expectations. Frazier's poise and reliability have been assets, whereas Broad, a 4th-round pick, is still finding his footing. McCormick shows promise, with a fiery, competitive spirit and flashes of emotion that endear him to fans, but he hasn't quite matched Frazier's consistent production yet. Troy Fanuanu is another player in this conversation. He's earned respect for his professionalism and accountability, but injuries limited his snaps last season, so it remains to be seen how he'll perform over a full campaign. All of these factors suggest that the offensive line's development will be a gradual process. It takes time for 5 players to gel, build trust, and adapt to the schemes an offensive coordinator like Arthur Smith brings, especially with a new quarterback like Aaron Rodgers at the helm. Chemistry and communication aren't built overnight, and the offensive line's success will depend heavily on how quickly they can come together. This isn't a team you want to rush or expect to be flawless right away. When you combine the challenges at free safety with the uncertainties on the offensive line, it's clear the Steelers face some serious decisions this offseason. Do they stay conservative and hope for incremental improvement, or do they make bold moves to accelerate the team's development? The Rodgers signing signaled a shift toward urgency, but roster construction hasn't fully caught up with that mindset yet. Looking ahead, it's worth remembering that the Steelers have always been a team that balances youth and experience carefully. But with the cap space available and the clear goal of competing at a high level next season, it's difficult to justify settling for good enough in critical spots like free safety and WR2. Fans want to see ambition reflected in the roster moves, especially as the regular season looms closer. All these factors create an intriguing offseason story for Steelers Nation. Will they chase after a player like Justin Simmons and bring in a proven veteran to fill a glaring need? Or will they stick to their current plan and hope younger players step up? The answers to these questions will shape the team's chances in a competitive AFC North and the league as a whole. What's clear is that the window for contention feels wide open, but the margin for error is slim. Continuing with the conversation. Around the Steelers roster, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to the offensive line and how the younger players will develop over the next season. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of high-profile signings and the arrival of a star quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. But football is still very much a game of trenches. The offensive line is the backbone of any successful offense, and the Steelers have some serious questions to answer about who can step up and anchor that group. When you look at the players like Brick Broad, there's a sense that the skepticism surrounding him is warranted, but also nuanced. Broad struggled through his second year, facing challenges from injuries and inconsistency that prevented him from becoming the reliable force fans had hoped for after his rookie season. It's important to remember that second-year players often face a tougher road as opponents adjust and as the physical toll of the NFL hits harder. But Broad didn't just have a bad patch. His struggles seem persistent, and that's what gives fans pause. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling around the Pittsburgh Steelers camp as reports have emerged that star wide receiver DK Metcalf has suffered an injury during a recent training session, while official details remain scarce and the team has not yet released a formal statement. Sources close to the organization suggest that the injury could impact Metcalf's availability in the upcoming games, stirring concern among fans and analysts alike. Metcalf, known for his explosive speed and physical dominance on the field, has been a critical weapon in the Steelers' offensive arsenal since his arrival. His ability to break tackles and make big plays downfield has often been a difference maker in close contests. The possibility of him being sidelined, even for a short period, raises questions about how the Steelers will adjust their game plan and who will step up to fill the void left by such a dynamic athlete. Speculation about the nature and severity of Metcalf's injury ranges from minor muscle strains to something more significant, though no confirmations have emerged. Given the timing of his development during training, some insiders believe the team may be cautious with the star receiver, opting to give him ample recovery time rather than risk further complications. This approach, while prudent, could mean a short-term dip in offensive production and force the Steelers' coaching staff to explore alternative strategies. The rumor mill is also buzzing with talk about how this injury might affect the Steelers' chances in a tightly contested season. With the team aiming to solidify its position in the playoffs, losing Metcalf could be a significant setback. His chemistry with the quarterback and his knack for clutch performances have often provided the Steelers with momentum-changing moments, and replicating that impact will be a tough challenge. As the story develops, fans are eager for updates and are closely watching the Steelers' practice reports and press conferences for any sign of clarity. Meanwhile, opponents may see this as an opportunity to exploit a potential weakness in Pittsburgh's offense. Whether Metcalf's injury is a fleeting concern or a more extended issue remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the Steelers' season could hinge on how this situation unfolds. In the coming days, the football community will be watching closely, hoping for good news, but preparing for the possibility that the Steelers will need to adapt quickly in the absence of one of their most electrifying playmakers. The uncertainty surrounding DK Metcalf's condition is already generating buzz, and all eyes are on Pittsburgh as this story continues to develop. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.